Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Eagle Politics. Make sure you guys like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So we did it. The House officially passed the one big beautiful bill. It started in the House, they wrote it, the Senate amended it, and then they sent it back to the House. So the House approved the amendments, and now it goes directly to President Donald J. Trump's desk. And this is a huge moment because this bill is massive. And it includes a lot of Donald Trump's agenda, and he is going to be signing it most likely tomorrow on the 4th of July. This guy definitely just understands marketing unlike any other. I've said for the longest time, he's the king of optics, and now his entire agenda is going to his desk on the 4th of July. This guy understands patriotism, and that's basically what he's made his brand about, his entire political journey, and he just keeps leaning into it, and it's just really good optics for the bill. But also what's inside of the bill is also very beneficial, and we're going to cover some of that. We're going to cover why this is so significant, the journey to get here, what's going on, what is the left saying about this, are their copes valid, are they actually going to be effective among the voter base come 2026? Well, first of all, I got to tell you guys about our great friends over at Allegiance Gold, because while the media is obsessing over Trump's tariff, something big is brewing and nobody's talking about it except right here, because starting here in July, under the new Basel III international banking rules, gold will officially be reclassified as a Tier 1 asset, placing it on the same level as cash and U.S. treasuries. So that means gold's money again. Just in the first quarter, thousands of tons of gold were quietly moved back to the U.S. from Europe. Meanwhile, central banks around the world are stockpiling gold at record levels. That's not a coincidence, that's a signal. So if the world's most powerful financial institutions are hoarding gold, why aren't you? Don't wait. Call Allegiance Gold, the trusted experts I've partnered with that have the highest ratings and accolades. They'll help you secure real physical gold and silver delivered straight to your home or placed securely inside your IRA or 401k. Go to allegiancegold.com/redeagle or call 844-790-9191. That's 844-790-9191 and mention Red Eagle, and you could be eligible to receive up to $5,000 in free metals, but only if you act right now, because gold is freedom, gold is sovereignty, and starting this July, gold is officially money. So that's allegiancegold.com/redeagle or call 844-790-9191 today. So the House passed the bill. You had two Republican noes, and one of those noes is in kind of a blue district. You have Brian Fitzpatrick, and that kind of came out of nowhere because he voted for the first iteration of the bill, and he's kind of grandstanding about Ukraine or something strange in that whole dissent to the bill that he kind of laid out. So I don't know what's going on there, but you have every Democrat that's voting against, funding ICE, extending the tax cut. So basically, Democrats voted to raise, the average family affords taxes by several $1,000s per year. That is a bad optics move for them in general. Obviously, you could say, well, if it was a standalone bill and it was a middle-class tax cut extension, they could have voted differently, but it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, people see the votes and it's effective. And if this bill helps the country, which there's plenty of reasons to believe it will, that will backfire. Also, you had Thomas Massie grandstanding on the Republican side. That is to be expected, but it didn't matter because you had the entire Republican majority united, and they united quickly. A little bit different in the Senate, but still, you did have the House Republicans get their act together. So Mike Johnson, as I expected, he would be an effective speaker because he's somebody, he's a little weak, but Trump can exploit that to his advantage. If he's a speaker under a Republican president, he's probably going to deliver everything that he can, and he did a good job there. So credit where due, whether you like the guy or not, that happened, and the House of Representatives was relatively unified. So you see that, and now the largest middle-class tax cut has been extended and expanded upon, which is massive. And this bill includes many other things as well, because we got record funding for ICE, a full wall and mass deportations. That, I think, matters more than pretty much anything else in the bill. Obviously, the tax code is important for sure. You want a strong economy, but this is huge because you're going to see a lot more deportations because of this. You will see the wall. All the funding has been allocated. Finally, I don't know why this wasn't done in his first term, but you have record funding for ICE. You're going to have mass deportations. You're going to see the tax cut extended and expanded, where you're going to have deductions or exemptions for tips, overtime, and like Social Security for like 88% of seniors. Like they had to work around it, especially because of the way that the Senate operates. And I'm not a big fan of that, but still, it's a major net positive. And it is by and large keeping Donald Trump's campaign promise. Also, it establishes a remittance tax. I think the remittance tax should be way higher than it is. I don't know why it's 1%. It should be like 5%, if not 10%. But regardless, the fact you have a remittance tax is a very, very solid step in the right direction. And Trump said, in 2015, we'll get Mexico to pay for the wall. This does allow for Mexico to pay for the wall, because people that are sending money or gifts to different countries, they're going to have to pay taxes on that. And that will basically, show that those countries and people from those countries are going to be paying for the wall. So that's part of the deal right there. Also, it cuts $1.6 trillion in government benefits due to fraud, waste, and abuse. And that's huge. And they had to do a workaround for the illegal aliens being removed from Medicaid as well, but that is very likely going to happen the way the bill is laid out. And Democrats are like, oh, well, this is going to cut Medicaid or whatever, and it just establishes work requirements for welfare and food, which is something that we would want. It's common sense. If you're not actively seeking employment and you're able-bodied, you should probably not be getting government benefits because you're just complacent. You're just, staying on these benefits without actually trying to get off of them or make an effort. So again, I think that that's a very, very solid thing that this bill does. $1.6 trillion is a lot of money. The bill does establish a rural hospital fund to fund, certain parts of Medicaid as well that possibly could, suffer because of it. So it's not like you're going to see this massive healthcare crisis the way Democrats are hoping and wish casting. And, you compare it to 2018, like you look at that, they were fear-mongering about Obamacare going away. Obamacare obviously never went away, but Republicans couldn't find a plan, and a lot of people lost confidence in the Republican Party, and it did allow Democrats to capitalize on that. Are they going to be able to capitalize on this when in reality most people are not going to be losing their healthcare coverage? I don't believe so. I don't believe so at all. And you also have people saying that it's going to run up the debt and deficit. But again, they use a ridiculous baseline, which was the pre-2017 tax code. And the same exact projections were there. They said revenue is going to fall in the Trump administration the first time when the tax cuts were passed, and actually revenue went up. The problem was, we spent too much. We increased defense spending. We increased all sorts of spending, and the deficit was rising still. I understand that, but it wasn't because of the tax cut. It was in spite of the tax cut, because what it does is it incentivizes growth. And also, you will see the establishment of the Golden Dome. Plenty of jobs will come out of that, which is kind of like the Iron Dome they have in Israel. Trump wants to build one here. Reagan talked about it. Trump's actually doing it. But also you have the corporate tax structure has been altered to add made in America incentives to buy American, hire American, etc., make their products here. That will probably be able to boost manufacturing to some degree. So overall, this is a very, very solid bill, and it does really have the potential to pay for itself, because any additional taxes are going to be offset in certain cuts that you see here. So all the grandstanders that like to buy the liberal lies about the bill, those people are going to have the most egg on their face, in my opinion, when it's all said and done. And again, I don't think it's perfect. I want to see just in writing that we are going to bar states from allowing illegal aliens to get Medicaid. And that, these SALT deductions they have in there in some states, I understand why they are putting them in there. Trump wants to flip New Jersey and New York in the future. I understand that 100%. I just think that they tend to go a little bit overboard. Thankfully, the Senate reined them in a little bit, which is good. Also, the remittance tax is lower than it should be. And again, it does mostly get rid of taxes on tips and overtime and Social Security, but not exactly in a perfect sense. But I think the deduction is more than fine when you look at the bill. So regardless, you have a lot of positive things here in this bill, and it's going directly to Donald Trump's desk. And the experts that are whining about it are just the same people that are wrong about everything. And you could see this here. CNN, they were really expecting a really bad jobs report today, but instead we got 147,000 jobs that were added. Unemployment fell to 4.1%, and they just blew expectations out of the water. And whatever estimation that was released yesterday that showed us losing jobs was wrong by like 200,000 jobs or so. And once again, inflation is still low despite the tariffs. You have the stock market on the rise. Once again, people said it would fall off a cliff. It's not. It's doing just fine. And this bill is going to provide a lot of relief to a lot of Americans that you see here. This is exactly what Donald Trump ran on. It's exactly what Donald Trump is delivering on. And if people see the results of the bill and they're very positive come 2026, this will help Republicans because you have a united Republican House that is delivering, a Democrat House that is just, in opposition to everything Trump does. And if Trump is popular and the economy is doing well, in part because of this bill, and you get these mass deportations, which are going to help out with wages, it's going to help out with housing costs, you name it, it's going to be a massive win. So this is a huge victory for Trump, not his first during his presidency, but arguably his biggest, and he will sign it into law on America's birthday tomorrow. So great news, guys. But anyways, make sure you guys like this video down below, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Red Eagle out.